Well, it has happened. The set is now complete. And there's the third piece right there. Don't mind that. That's just some action figures from another video or whatever. Yeah, check that out. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. What's going on, people? So, last night, as the 5 of you that showed up may recall, I did a live unboxing last night with John, formerly of the Predator Minute podcast. Well, I guess it's still out there. But now, as far as active things, he's doing the Seen It with John and someone else. I can't remember the exact title. Either way, they just kind of recap scenes of movies and stuff. Sounds like a pretty good time. But either way, he came by the show last night, did a double unboxing and whatnot. He also picked up a pair of these and a pair of these in a different color. But after that, we just kind of talked around for a little while and all that good stuff about different Ultra Boosts and just various shoes and my Instagram troubles, a lot of stuff. It was a good time. If anybody out there ever wants to do a double unboxing or something and sit back and do that same thing that we did, let me know. I buy shoes fairly regularly, so if we're getting the same thing, we can talk about it together, right? In a live setting, not so much this where I just sit here and talk to you and you have no way to really help the conversation move along. You just have to sit there and deal with whatever I say. But anyways, so here's the thing, right? You got these right here. And they came in a pretty nice box, these Ultraboost 1.0 DNAs. On the side of the box, there's all that standard stuff for you. But then on the other side here, you do have the boost thing written in there, which is kind of done in the same style if you've ever seen the bottom of an Ultraboost 21. If you haven't, you're not really missing a whole lot, but I'll still suggest you go watch one of the 2 videos that I did on them. Three videos, I think. Yeah. Either way, so you got that going on. It's got a nice little texture to it, Same with the Adidas logo going on over here, and then there's one over there too. I don't know, it's kind of a nice little feel. It's nice to get something a little bit different, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, got these in. Almost lost the people. Anyway, so got these in yesterday, did that double unboxing, talked about them. Now it's time to knock out an actual review of these right here. As I said, this is the Adidas Ultraboost 1.0 DNA in the ZX8000 Aqua colorway. Kind of rhymes somewhere in there. I usually try to avoid that, but sometimes it just happens, Either way, let's talk about them. As usual, we're going to go ahead and start with the bottom, right? So across the bottom, what you're looking at down there is pretty much your standard outsole that you get on any Ultraboost, right? So you got the black Continental going on, and then behind that, peeking through, you do have the Boost. Down here in the middle area, you got the torsion system. It's that old school torsion system from the 1s through 19s, or 20s, I should say. This time around, it's just colored to match the upper, right? So there's that for you. And down in the bottom area, you do have a little bit of that yellowish, greenish, whatever color kind of peeking through. So just a little bit of flare down there that most people won't notice. Anyways, moving on up to the midsole, one of the highlights of this particular shoe, at least in my opinion, is that it has this aqua colored midsole, right? Colored Boost, it's not super common. It's getting there, but it's still kind of one of those things where when you see it, it's like, oh, look at that. And especially when you see a color like this that you just generally don't see. At least I don't. Point out one that does have that color though, because I might be interested in getting that if it's for a decent price. Only difference here being on the inside, there's no blue there because that's in that same greenish yellow, kind of like a tennis ball sort of color. So you got that going on at the bottom. But past that, standard Boost things from the 1 through 4 versions. And I guess earlier on Caged and whatever. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about this here upper, right? So around the upper, it's kind of going to be what you expect out of an Ultraboost, but I'll get you some close-ups and whatnot, talk about some things. So down here, right around the toe box, one of the first things you might notice, or at least if you're me, is that this is not the standard Ultraboost toe box, right? You've got some very thick suede. And when I say thick suede, I mean that the paneling that they have on here is thick itself. Not necessarily that the suede is like that thick. And it's not any great quality or anything like that. It feels fine, don't get me wrong. Not much of like a color change or anything in there, so you're not getting that made in the UK kind of quality, but it's pretty decent, right? For something like this, it's pretty decent. And then above that, one of the things that's going to stand out to a lot of people is that you do have that 1.0 stitching pattern. I don't know how everybody feels about it, but it seems to be that a lot of people really like the 1.0. It seems to be a favorite of a lot of people. So it's got that heart kind of shaped thing going on in there. And in a way, to me, just the way they did this white with this intertwined aqua type color, it kind of gives it a sort of an icy frost sort of vibe to me, right? What do you guys think? Do you agree or do you disagree? This is one of those times where if we were doing this live, we could actually have a conversation. So, just saying. Anyway, so you got that going on, and that whole thing, it more or less extends all the way to the back of the shoe, up until at least like the back third or so, up to where that starts. So if you're familiar with these, you know that the stitching just kind of switches up just a little bit as you look at the shoe, but for the most part, it's just gonna be that same color, switched up just a tad bit. Anyways, moving on to the siding here. So you do have the standard side here, the three stripes and everything. This time around, they have kind of changed it just a little bit as far as how they colored them in. And they did it more so to kind of match up with this is the original, not the original, but the 2021 ZX8000 Aqua. So one of the things we noticed last night was that if you look at these on the outside, that first stripe is kind of like slanted or whatever. And then you have all that purple down at the bottom, which is more or less how these are done. So you got all that purple down at the bottom. And as the cut of it goes, it kind of slants off that first stripe. So that's kind of the design that they've mimicked here. So just a little thing that we picked up on last night when we were sitting there just kind of talking about stuff. So, which is why I kind of like doing unboxings before doing reviews, so that way I can kind of go in with a little bit more info. Either way, so there's that for you. Got a little bit of that tennis ball color and a little bit of that purple slapped on top of this darker aqua type color cage. So that just kind of extends all the way back, as these generally do, to the heel cups. And the heel cup here on the back for Ultra, that's in purple, and then it's kind of like a silvery metallic sort of color going on for Boost. So you have that, very standard stuff. And then above that, you don't have the same prime knit, the thin prime knit you have up here. It's more of a thicker mesh, right? But again, this is an Ultraboost 1.0 style. If you've seen one before, which you've probably had like 5 years to see one, it's not going to be anything you haven't seen. Though one thing that you probably haven't really seen is this back end here where it has this 3M strip on there. I don't know if it's just me missing things, but I feel like that's not common. So this does have that there. Point that out for you. But past that, as far as the outside of the shoe, that's mostly it. But let's switch back around, follow things through with the laces, right? Got to cover everything. Starting at the bottom, you do have the lace debray, I believe is the word. I learned that in a sneaker battle question the other day. Where was that? I don't remember. I think it was on the Trap House one. But either way, lace debray down there. So this one has Adidas torsion system just kind of written in. Somewhat similar to what you see on the original one, just slightly different when it comes to like logo things and whatnot. And then above that, you've got the standard laces you've come to expect on these in the same color that matches up with the cage or the heel cups or the front area, whatever you want to look at to compare that. And then behind that, you do have that same thick tongue that you have the same styling done over here, right, on the side. So you got that, and then at the top, you have the Adidas logo, and under that, you have Adidas written out in purple. And that's probably 3M, but I'll figure that out later, as I usually do. So that concludes the outside of the shoe. It's looking pretty good, in my personal opinion. You can leave yours down below if you would like to, or maybe you already have. But in the meantime, let's look at the inside here. So what you're looking at down in there is pretty much just a standard insole, right? You got the purple, you got that tennis ball color, very plain, but it works. And then that kind of matches up with the insole, the sock liner type area itself. So in the upper area around your ankle, it's very plush, as it always is, in that tennis ball color again. And then as you get down into here, it's pretty much just the knitted stuff. This does not extend past like right here. So there we go. We've talked about the shoe pretty much. I'll hit you with some personal thoughts. Oh, there's nothing special on the tips of the laces, just blue all throughout, which is a weird thing to me. I would imagine that they would have colored this with that greenish color. It just seems like something they would have done, or maybe that purple, something. Either way, thoughts on the shoe, right? I was looking forward to these for a while. I ended up buying these. It was like 1 a.m. I just randomly woke up in the middle of the night. John had sent me an email and I saw it. It's like, hey, these are in stock early. And I just bought them and went right back to sleep. And I wake up and I'm looking at my phone, like, here's your order information. I gotta stop doing that, people. A lot of my purchases happen at random times in the middle of the night. It's not always a good idea. Sometimes it is. So I guess that maybe that's why I keep doing it. Getting back on track, I do like these a lot. I think that's enough to wrap that up. So let's go ahead and talk about the sizing, because that's important, I think. So, sizing wise, right? Now, I bought these in my normal true to size, which is a 9.5. It's the thing I've been buying in Ultraboost, Adidas, Ultraboost, Air Max, all kinds of things, right? That's just the size that works for me. So that's what I bought here. And it works out just fine. One of the issues that I thought could come up was around the toe box area. I thought that extra suede area might be a little bit of an issue, but it turns out the toe box is seemingly just a little bit wider possibly. So that's not a problem in case you were wondering. Overall, stick with your normal size, true to size that is, and you should be good. Past that, as far as the comfort and all that, wearing the shoe, it's pretty much your standard prime knit that you've come to expect from the older style Ultraboost, not the 19, 20, or 21. And so that means it's a little bit stretchier in a lot of ways because it's not the prime blue, it's the prime knit, which is just straight up knit. So that's a very nice thing in my opinion. Pretty thin, pretty breathable still. So you got that going on, which also makes it very lightweight. So all in all, it kind of makes for a pretty good summer shoe, you know what I'm saying? Or a good running shoe if you want to do that, but there are better ones out there nowadays, so I wouldn't necessarily pick these for that. But again, for all day comfort, this right here is something you should totally look into. I mean, I did, and it's working out for me, so there's that. But past that, I think we're good on the comfort and the sizing and all that stuff. You guys got all that, right? Hopefully you did. If not, there's a rewind or backtrack button or something somewhere on the screen. Feel free to use it. Anyways, let's go ahead and get this thing wrapped up because we're done. From me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I got some other recordings to do, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. For now, later people.